out in the world, that guide dog started off in the home of a volunteer puppy raiser, and we always need volunteer puppy raisers to join our program.
They become a member of your family, and they become part of your heart.
You have people who can't see, who are going through cancer, who can't use their senses, mobility and everything like that. What better than a beautiful puppy with more love in their heart than anything in this world to show you the way.
Yep. Ta-da. Yep.
For more info on becoming a volunteer, visit guidedogsofamerica.org. As part of a continuous effort to clean up South Los Angeles, Councilman Curran Price kicked off Don't Trash CD9, a local challenge pitting high school students against one another for a chance to win $5,000.
I take 2 buses just to get to school, and I notice how there's trash everywhere in our community, and I really want to put an end to it.
Every month for the next 5 months, through May of next year, it'll be a monthly challenge that the schools will be competing for. The thought was, well, let's get our youth involved in a way that gives them some incentives to go out and spread the word and do what's important. And we know how important youth are in, helping to provide leadership in a number of issues, number of areas, including the environment.
Every single day as I walk in the streets, I see a lot of trash, pollution, etc. Now, this is a big problem in my community and in everybody else's community, especially South Central. If you come to our campus, you will not find a single piece of trash on our floor because we are very prideful and we are full of love. We love the earth and we love each other.
The school that records the most number of 311 service requests is going to be the winner of the month. That's pretty straightforward, right? If you see some trash, what are you going to do? You're going to report it.
It's critical currently since all the homeless encampments and graffiti and trash on the streets to keep their communities clean. And we're here, 311 is here to assist them.
The effort is meant to spark a movement driven by teenagers to help keep their neighborhoods clean. Thousands of young people take to the streets in downtown LA for a climate rally. Council President Herb Wesson takes a bold move to spur more affordable housing in LA, and a new fire station opens its doors in Van Nuys. All this in City Beat. Hundreds of climate activists gathered outside City Hall, protesting oil drilling and fossil fuel production. The activists marched from City Hall to Governor Gavin Newsom's Los Angeles office. 16-year-old Swedish teen Greta Thunberg was the keynote speaker at the rally. Thunberg has become the face of the climate crisis, organizing dozens of other protests in her country.
I will never understand how they can put short-term interests above human lives, above the planet itself, and our very future.
I think this is the best kind of education for them to get, to be really directly involved in activism and again learn how to speak for themselves.
To join forces with all these wonderful people to, sort of magnify our voice and let it be known that we care and we have to move away from fossil, we have to make change.
LA City Council President Herb Wesson has introduced a new motion to restrict the use of city-owned land classified for housing purposes to development of 100% affordable housing units. The motion will be sent to the Housing Committee, where it will be expected to be heard in the coming weeks. After championing the construction of a much-needed state-of-the-art fire station to serve Van Nuys and the San Fernando Valley, Councilwoman Nury Martinez joined LAFD Chief Ralph Terrazas and Councilmember Paul Krikorian for the grand opening of Fire Station 39. The event also included a pancake breakfast with community members. Folks in Pacoima, along with Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez, came together for a 2-day Dia de los Muertos festival to honor their loved ones and celebrate family.
This Dia de los Muertos celebration is our 3rd annual. It really is a unique opportunity for the community to come together and celebrate the stories and the legacies of the many family members that we want to pay tribute to and have made such an indelible mark in our lives.
By offering this tradition, we're basically offering remembrance to our ancestors.
And that's what makes this event so beautiful, because it crosses cultural boundaries. It makes sure that everyone can tell the story of those members of the families that we've loved, and I think it keeps their memories alive, and that's what Dia de los Muertos is all about.
It's just a good way to help people heal and remember those who we've lost. The aroma of the marigold and the burning of incense, the music, there's pan de muerto, there's water, so when the soul reaches here, it has water, it has something to eat.
When I lost my grandma, she was very important to me, and I still keep her alive with this tradition going on every year. And people that pass now, we still put their picture, and then we still make them live in our hearts and remember them.
It's nice that they could come visit us on this day.
For those who couldn't make it to Pacoima for the festivities, there were plenty of Dia de los Muertos action in downtown LA at the Grand Avenue All Access Arts event.
The LA Opera is excited to be a part of the annual Grand Avenue Arts Celebration. It's a once-a-year celebration where all of the arts organizations on Grand Avenue get together and have open houses for the community. Grand Park is having a wonderful event for Dia de los Muertos, which is a part of the Music Center. But all together, it's just a big celebration on everything going on.
It's our culture. We've had family members that have passed away, so we want to keep their memory alive. So we dress up and do their faces, half of it live and half of it deaf.
I think it's great. We were just down on Olvera Street. It was beautiful, it was happening, it was people. I love all of the honoring of all of the people that came before us.
Ethnically, I am Middle Eastern. I'm from Iran. My culture doesn't have anything like this that parallels it so much. So coming out here to kind of see what Dia de los Muertos is all about. I have a lot of friends that do celebrate it, so it's kind of neat to see what their culture is all about.
In Los Feliz, art and community came together for a day of self-expression and creativity at a very unique art festival.
It's important for me to be here today just to celebrate the arts, the community, and a sense of commitment and connection to the neighborhood.
Everyone has their own opinion and views on what they feel is art and or beautiful, and it's these little things in life that that you don't necessarily focus on that bring joy to people. It's whether it's like looking at a nice painting or listening to some good music. I feel like it's good for oneself.
The Festival for All Skid Row Artists is a two-day block party of performing and visual art with plenty of music, showcasing the diverse range of talents among Skid Row residents.
The Los Angeles Poverty Department is an arts group based in Skid Row. And about 10 years ago, we reacted to the fact that there's not enough opportunity for artists in Skid Row. Everybody who's in here lives in the community, whether they live inside or whether they live outside, they're members of the community. Beautiful thing is there are a lot of people who participate regularly, but an equally beautiful thing is there are people who've never been here before. They come, they get involved, and they get hooked up with other things in the neighborhood. And it makes a lot of connections on a person-to-person level.
You know, a lot of people are sad down here. They're without their families and friends. I mean, you know, a lot of people have felt short of their glory, but we bring them back together and stand them back up. And then they say, what do I do now? Well, we ask them, what's your talent? Today is a very important day for people to come together in Skid Row. People that live down here in apartments, on the streets in tents. We are a family down here. So this is our opportunity to come together and party and have a wonderful time. Slept in a doorway for 8 years when I got out of my first marriage. I lost everything. And when I come down here, I feel like I'm a part of. They give me courage and strength to keep believing in myself.
These events help to display the positive aspects of community, because we are a community.
If these people can come and give their love and their time, I think I can do it too, because I think we've all been there, but we came back to give back.
Enjoy a Medusa musical, get your heart pumping with 10 days of modern dance, and indulge your sweet tooth at a dessert festival. All this and things to do. The Getty Villa and Deaf West Theater are proud to present Medusa, a musical. The young, reluctant, and deaf hero Perseus embarks on a perilous quest to slay the snake-haired Medusa. This epic showdown between Perseus and Medusa comes to life as a musical fantasy told in Deaf West Theater's signature style of singing and signing. Don't miss Medusa, the musical, happening November 16th and 17th at the Getty Villa. For more info, visit getty.edu. The LA Dance Project presents LA Dances, a festival presenting historical and contemporary works. The event features 10 Los Angeles premieres of dance works that showcase collaborations with LA-based visual artists. LA Dances is the LA Dance Project's dedication to the city it calls home and its creative collaborators. So be sure to check out LA Dances Festival. For details, visit ladanceproject.org. Because dessert is always a good idea, Dessert Goals is back with the Los Angeles Dessert Fest. So what's in store for 2019? The Dai Tiki Edition. Angelinos will see one of the biggest festivals yet, over 2 back-to-back weekends. So get your tie-dye and tropical prints ready and meet or drop by the Los Angeles Dessert Fest at Evolve Project in Echo Park on November 9th, 10th, 16th, and 17th. The festivities begin at noon each day. To get more info, visit their listing on Eventbrite. Ladies, get ready for Intro to Action Filmmaking for Female Filmmakers. This workshop, moderated by the Chimera Project's founding member America Young, is focused on helping to bring more women to the action genre. Attend a panel of pro stunt coordinators offering their invaluable insight and experience. Then take part in an educational demo with pro stunt performers on how to shoot a simple fight scene. Select attendees will have hands-on experience filming with our pro guests. Intro to Action Filmmaking for Female Filmmakers happens Saturday, November 16th. For tickets, visit their listing on Eventbrite. And that's a look at some things to do. That's it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more of LA This Week.
part of something big.
But before a big project
Can become a reality.
you need big ideas.
Ideas that make a big impact.
That deliver the goods.
To serve the greater good.
Do you have what it takes?
To make a lasting contribution.
Can you?
Rise to the occasion.
Are you ready to be part of something?
That's bigger than you.
Bigger than what you thought was possible?
If so,
Come be a part of LADWP.
be part of something big.
Thanksgiving is the time of year when family and friends get together to enjoy each other's company and a myriad of delicious foods. We have a tendency to include our four-legged family members in this feast, which often results in overindulgence. Thanksgiving weekend is also a busy time for emergency veterinary clinics. Dogs and cats suffer very serious and sometimes fatal consequences from turkey bones, too much rich and fatty foods, and just plain overeating. When giving pets treats, you must consider the relative size of their body compared to yours. If you visualize yourself as a whole pie, comparatively, your dog is only one slice of pie. Consequently, sharing an unfinished plate that still holds a generous serving of mashed potatoes with gravy, a few bites of turkey, and a small slice of pumpkin pie with your best friend can make them feel miserable. If you want your pets to enjoy the holiday, stop by a pet food store and purchase some new dog biscuits or cat treats. Then reduce the amount of their regular meal to accommodate the treats they will be getting throughout the day. If you are planning a quiet holiday at home without a lot of company and confusion, and you don't already have a dog or cat to share your life with, this could be the perfect time to visit one of our 6 LA Animal Services centers and fall in love with your new best friend. You can get them settled in while you have a couple days off of work. LA Animal Services is offering reduced adoption fees the 29th through the 1st. Visit any of our 6 locations for more information or go to laanimalservices.com.
Good morning, good morning. Whoa, good morning, good morning. Would everybody please take a seat? Today is Today is Tuesday, November 12th. Would like to welcome you to City Hall and to this Los Angeles City Council meeting. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The public is welcome. Madam Clerk, we have a quorum. Would you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Harris Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Lee, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson. 12 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Koretz moves, Weezer seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Rue moves, O'Farrell seconds. Next.
Mr. President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
If I could ask all to please rise for our flag salute, will be led today by Mr. Harris Dawson, if you would, sir.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harris Dawson. Let's continue and run through the agenda.
Mr. President, there is a request to continue item 4 for 2 weeks to November 26th.
Okay, so ordered without objection. Continue.
Items 1 through 3 are items noticed for public hearing.
Do you have cards on these items?
Yes, there are cards on all the items.
Okay, let's hold those items and continue.
Items 5 through 10 are items for which public hearings have been held. There is a request from a member to hold item 5.
We'll hold 5 and prepare to vote on the remaining items. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Continue.
Items 11 through 27 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, these items are now before this body. Do you have cards on these items as well?
Yes, there are cards on items 11, 12, 13, 14, 19, 21, 23, 25, 26, and 27.
Okay, let's hold those items and vote on the remaining items. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, that brings us where?
Mr. President, that then takes council back to presentations, items called special or general public comment.
Mr. Previn, if we could start today, we'll try to get through some of our public comment cards. We'll start with Mr. Previn. Items 2, 3, 11, 13, 14, 19, 21, 23, 25, 26, 27, and then his general public comment. Yes, sir. If you could give him his 3 minutes.
Sir, I'd like to retain a minute for after the presentation from the
Just
registrar recorder.
go ahead, Mr. Previn.
Is that permissible, sir?
Mr. Previn, you have your time now.
No, I know, but I'm asking if
Mr.
that's
Previn, you have 3 minutes and then 1 minute for public comment.
Okay, so let's do the general public comment first then, which is to say that is that okay? And then I'll do the
Mr. Previn,
items.
stick to the items.
Sir, what kind of nonsense is this?
Mr. Previn.
Oh, you don't
In
like
fact,
it because
you know
there's
what?
somebody who's
Let's
from the
give
real
Mr.
world.
Previn
Got
his
it.
1 minute, and then that.
Sure. No. I'll talk about the liquor licenses. There's a couple liquor licenses that are in the area.
Mr. Previn, you have your public comment. Go right ahead.
Okay, well then this is a
Mr.
rotten
Previn,
house.
you
I'm
have
doing
your
it.
public comment.
Stop talking during my time, sir. Thank you. We all know what's going on, okay? You don't want me to speak because you've got Dean Logan from the Registrar Recorder, and you use this John Ferraro Chambers improperly for political purposes all the time. And so this act right now, in fact, because I'm a candidate for the CD2 election, I'm trying to get on the ballot, is in fact exactly what you do all the time, which is you try to make it seem like, oh, this guy's a lunatic. But I'm not a lunatic. I'm a journalist, and I'm a person who has written several articles that have been awarded. So it's just outrageous. And you should grant me the 2 minutes to speak on the item, since this is my general public comment time. Because I want to talk about why CD6 is delaying a liquor license. This is a great opportunity to have people then circle in and try to push it through so that Nuri Martinez, who's also active. A lot of people are raising money now, sir, because you jammed through the 6-to-1 matching program, which is great, but you did it in a way that's extremely corrupt, and we're going to be catching you on that. So I just want you to know, sir, that this action is totally improper to deny me my time. I'm an advocate for people in my neighborhood and across the city.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Thank you. Ms. Ramirez, Antonia Ramirez, items 2, 3, 11, 13, 14 through 23, 27 in your general public comment. Please stick to the items, please. Go ahead.
Number 2, hearing protests. Again, Little Tokyo business improvement. You've got a high crime rate. The day you start improving the quality of cutting down on the crime, you will improve the quality of life and merchants will be a lot happier. You've got the niggers coming in from Skid Row. You've got the Latinos coming in from East LA. They converge in Little Tokyo and they rob these lovely, beautiful Japanese people, the tourists, the visitors, the travelers, and a lot of the good homeless, law-abiding, and elderly. The abuse is astronomical as it is in Chinatown. In jail, all the fucking niggers, gangbangers, wetbacks, and the white trash junkies. God bless America and Donald Trump. And number 3, ladies and gentlemen, consumption. Man, we need AA meetings in every city area. We need an AA place where people can go to meetings and do a 12-step program at every corner in downtown LA. Everybody's a fucking alcoholic, with the exception of me. And number 11, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. Oh, yeah. Chihuahua. 11, ladies and gentlemen, presentation. Holly Wilcott has done a goddamn lousy job of disseminating the information. We never get to prepare. We are homeless. We fight for something out of principle, and we can't get this till the moment we come running in like fucking dogs. We never get this on a timely basis. All the agendas, all the special items, all come at the last minute, like I got it right now. Does it give me time to prepare? Absolutely not. Does it show I'm a dumb fuck? No, I'm not a dumb fuck. I like to be prepared, but I have no other option.
Would you keep your voice down and get on this, get on the item?
Thank you. Number 14. And ladies and gentlemen, we care more about fucking animals than we do human beings. But God bless good city employees like the LAPD, the fire department, our LA pilots. Those deserve a pay raise, a good 1 year's vacation, all paid expenses. And God bless, they deserve a new vehicle because God knows they've earned it. God bless you, LAPD, fire department, sheriff's department, and the Medivac and the air support. God bless you, man. You guys kick ass. And number 27, ladies in support, fuck the film industry. We got nothing but perversion. They glamorize sex, drugs, rock and roll, theft, and drugs, and gangbangers. Why don't we start presenting the whole truth about poverty and in homelessness and the sacrifices that we suffer here in America. The poverty, the homelessness, the suffering, the torture, and the ghetto, and the gangs, and the warfares that are going on a daily basis. The fucking niggers and the gangbangers.
Stop beating on
America with all these gangbangers.
Podium,
Fuck
please.
'em. And now, God bless number 27. Did we? Well, we finished. Let's
You
go
just
to
did. Let's give her a 1 minute.
Fuck DACA. Please destroy DACA. It's unconstitutional, and fuck the gangbangers and the wetbacks. They're not entitled to nothing in this country. They come here, they think that they're entitled to. You first go through proper protocol, and that is you ask, you stand in line, you don't cut in fucking line like the rest of us did. We stood in line to come to this country, and that goddamn legislation was unconstitutional by fucking faggot Obama. Therefore, and they never gave the public the opportunity to provide public comments from legal law-abiding citizens that it was unlawful. Americans would not have wanted DACA. Now what we want now is that the United States Supreme Court denied it. Shelf the fucking legislation and throw it out and deport these 770,000 or all these 20 million and all these other wetbacks and gangbangers. They do not deserve special treatment. Fuck them. They are all criminals, and they should be treated as criminals, not rewarded. We suffer because of them.
Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. Ms. Ramirez, your time's expired. Okay, let's take a couple of votes at this point in time. Let's vote on items 2 and 3. And then also items 13 through 27. Please open the roll. Okay, well, no. 13 through 27, I'm sorry. 13 through 27. We ready? Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
All right. Ms. Rodriguez.
Number 13, forthwith, please.
So ordered. Let's call up Dr. Mello Desire. Items 11 and 12. So give her 2 minutes and then her general public comment minute. Items 11 and 12 and then general public comment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I want to talk briefly about the rent escrow account program, particularly for 6529 South Brinshurt Avenue. The houses in these areas are not only in deplorable conditions, but even after they've been submitted to REAP, a lot of the repairs are surface repairs and they're not long-term repairs. So I have a elderly resident that actually lives half a mile away in a similar housing facility, 3209 West 59th Street. Not only is she subjected to abuse from the landlord, who is personal friends, as he says, and I'm not sure if it's correct, Harris Dawson, but his name is Marvin Peters. And not only did he tell this senior that I'm gonna get your old ass out of here, but the repairs on this particular house was not done. I am very concerned about the gentrification in this area because people are capitalizing on Nipsey's death by putting out long-term communities and residents who have relocation issues that are not being taken care of by the city, especially for elder abuse. We already made an Adult Protective Services report on this gentleman, and we would like for the city council, before you do business with new landlords, for them to have respect for the natives and elderly that's been previously sitting there before you gentrify the hell out of that Crenshaw and Slauson area. My last comment concerning property is on Vermont and 115th, and I don't know if I can go into that now. Is that part of my public comment? Because I have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, your general public comment, do whatever you like.
All right, so we have a homeless encampment on Vermont and 115th. I don't know if David Goldman paid Marquise or Mark $100,000, but we need the sheriffs and the LAPD not to harass, not to beat up the homeless that's in this encampment. LASA was supposed to house them, and I'm still waiting for them to do the right thing. They have claimed in their commission meetings that I have sat in that black people don't need housing because they like to get high off of crack all day. This is a comment from LASA staff members. Now, if you respect blacks or not, that's not the issue. We are 54% of the homeless populations. If you don't have a black representatives helping take care of that, then you're not really trying to fix the homeless issue. We are not to be used for data. African Americans are intelligent. We've submitted proposals, and we want our local governance to actually respect, read, write, and implement the changes that are needed. I'm very disgusted by LA County, and I hope you don't go there, Webster, and destroy there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's vote on item 12. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Let's close the hearing on item 11. And if I could now get Gloria Reed, item 1. So she gets 1 minute for item 1 and general public comment. Gloria Reed, are you present? Please come forward, Ms. Reed. Ms. Reed, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning to you. I'm a senior, as you can see. I'm disabled. I don't mind moving out of the unit or any unit, any of us do, but we need relocation. And that's the biggest issue with us. It's not that we want to remain within a property where owners don't want us, but to suffer abuse, no, that's not what I stand for. Because I was taught different when my mother raised me, to have morals and values and treat people with respect. But this, I was talked about. They took away my trash can. I have to put trash on my back porch until trash day. They blocked the driveway. I can't even get out unless I go across the second unit.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Thank you. If I could now get Roy Gorham. Roy, please come forward. Item 1. Morning, sir.
I'm going to bring a local question to you because I see we seem to have a problem how to take care of people that is homeless, hungry, and out in the street.
In fact, let's hold this time for a second. Would you just like to do, sir, general public comment? Because you signed up for item 1. So what would you prefer, general public comment?
General public,
Okay,
sir.
let's restart his time. Give him 1 minute. Go ahead, sir. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
You know, I'm looking at this city now, and I came to this city to do good, and I was. But I see that we have people in this city as big association that has taken the people of California and this United States. And if this was the time of people like Teddy Roosevelt, this street wouldn't be full with people because he would take it away from all these so-called big elites and make them know where they got it from. You have people in this street, and I asked the city supervisor, don't they have the authority to bring in the federal government and have the federal government to look into the stress, the homeless, and things that are taking place in this city, and nobody seems to feel that that's a necessary cause. Mr. Herb Weston, I've been in this city before you got here. I've been in here when Tom Bradley was here. I have never seen the city officials decline to help people who make this city what it is today.
Thank you, Mr. Gorham. Thank you for coming down. Jonathan Nelson. Jonathan Nelson, please. Mr. Nelson, do you want to speak on item 1D, or would you like to just have your 1 minute on general public?
No, I'd like to speak on item 1D.
Go ahead, sir.
Recently, I've been unemployed for about over 3 years, and I'm just asking the chamber for some leniency on the proposed lien on my property. I've done everything I could to stay in the home and remedy the situation, but I just can't afford $2,600 in a lien and still do the building department requirements.
Mr. Nelson, why don't we do this?
Mhm.
I'm going to continue your item for 30 days, and I'm going to put you in touch with this gentleman here in the gray suit. If you would talk to him on the side, we'll continue this item for 30 days to see if there's some kind of arrangements we can make.
Thank you very
if
much.
that's okay with you. All
Thank
right.
And Mr. President, 30 days would be to December 11th.
Thank you. Okay, let's vote on item 1. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, let me try to get Brianna Elmore, Brandon Brinson, Evelyn Scott. Are you guys here? Please come forward. Moises Estrada. Yes, please identify yourself. This is general public comment.
Yes, sir. I'm Brianna Mia Marie Elmore that everybody know of but don't know existently. This is my magazine that I've been having since 1990, since I got my citizenship. This woman right here is ordered to know federal government clearance information to certain people that work for the government for her age bracket. I have been trying to get myself legal according to my will so I could be calm and conservative as much as I can because I am a private person and I am a young business person myself. Even the former president, First Lady, orchestrated my private plane that I received from her in 2000. So what I'm saying, this woman and who she represents and her family she represents, you guys are deframing my character as a coexistence that this is my middle name the government gave me for me not to die off of somebody else's pretenses, just for what is standing for what he had built and what I had built on top of everything.
Thank you. If I could get the next speaker. Is this Brandon? Yes, sir. Identify yourself.
My name is Brandon Brinson, and I'm here to talk about the social equity program for the cannabis. Cannabis is coming no matter what, and there is no social equity program for black and brown people. This tragic situation is just another way to push out the black people and allow every other race to come before us. Everybody on this council knows that black people have been thrown away and taken from their families for years because of cannabis. And now we have the chance to right the wrongs, and you guys are once again trying to take that away from us. You can't have social peace without social equity. And I know, and I would like to ask the city council to provide for social equity applicants, provide funds for their properties during this delay. We should not experience economic hardships because of the city's failure. We need more than 100 licenses in this first round. This city is built for 450 licenses. Surely we can get about 250 licenses this first round, Dr. Weston.
Thank you. Next speaker. Identify yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Scott. I'm in District 10. I am a social equity applicant. And I'm here today to echo the letter, Mr. Weston, that you wrote regarding the failure of Phase 3, Round 1 by the Department of Cannabis Regulations. In order to correct the failed first-come, first-served process, we strongly recommend that all Phase 3, Round 1 applications be processed, not just an audit. As an applicant, I've been enduring the hardship of paying rent for over 2 years. There are pending invoices for car repair shops and dry cleaners on the first-come, first-served list. There is an illegal shop opening every day in Los Angeles. One illegal shop is actually pending on the DCR's list. And yet the people who are trying to obey the law is suffering. This is driving me into debt. Nobody is responding. And we need the city to step in, and we need the DCR to come in and speak publicly about these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, Council. My name is Moises Estrada. I'm a constituent of District 13. I'm here to echo what the past two people have said about the whole process of Phase 3 for the DCR cannabis application. We do have plenty of room for more than 100 licenses. They need to vet all 800 applicants and just release more licenses. Thank you.
Okay, Charles Lockhart, Laura Potter, please come forward.
Hi, my name is Charles Lockett. I'm also a social equity applicant. I live in District 10, and I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. I'm also a businessman and a retired NFL player. And I'm also a social equity applicant, and we've seen the recommendations, President, that you've submitted, and we ask that you forward a motion so that all applications can be processed and vetted. We're not asking for a handout, but we just want a fair process in the whole for all the applicants, and we depend on this. It's not about getting high, but as players, we use it, so we won't have to get on opioids. And this is serious. I have players and friends that can't even move, can't even get out of bed because they chose to use this instead of opioids. So we ask that you process and vet all applications.
Thank you, sir. Joseph Nabuzor. Yes, please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Laura Potter, and I'm a social equity applicant. I just would like to know why your letter, Mr. Wesson, hasn't been followed. It would behoove the application process for the applicants if a motion was filed so that they could take your recommendations into consideration. We don't just need all 800 applications processed. We need them vetted properly. If someone was to take the time to actually dig into every single application, they would realize that there are fake subleases, that there are people within the application pool that cheated the Acela system to get their application submitted. And at this point, it's not fair to those people who went through the process correctly, and they're putting out all this money to hold on to their locations when other people are cheating the system and jumping in front of us. So I ask that you guys do take your recommendations from your letter.
Thank you. Joseph? Are you Joseph?
I'm Joseph.
Well, Joseph?
Okay. I'm Joseph.
So, Joseph, the mic is yours.
Okay. I own a property on May Avenue, and you put a lien on it. And we made the corrections that you needed us to make, and we have the permits and everything. So we want you to remove the liens, please.
Joseph, what's the address?
961A South May Avenue, Los Angeles, California.
Okay, you know what, Joseph? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if it's okay with the council person, we need to vote to reconsider this. Then let us continue it for 30 days and have Joseph and his family dialogue with the proper city.
Perfect. Thank you,
So
Mr. President.
if that's okay, so what we're going to
We'll
do,
reconsider
we're going to
first.
reconsider the item, which we already voted on. We'll reconsider it, continue it for 30 days, then put you in touch with people so you can make arrangements to work this out. So members, let us on item, what is it, 1H? Vote on reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, now we're going to continue that item for 30 days, which will bring us where, Madam Clerk?
December 11th.
December 11th. And with that said, Mr. Buscaino, if you could identify a staff member.
She's right. She's ready
She's
to go.
waving
Lauren
at
Hill.
you.
There she is.
All right. So with that said, in fact, Mr. Buscaino, could you take the president's chair for a moment?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to go into presentation.
I'll tell her right now. They're going to have a presentation?
In fact, is it Ignite here? Come on down. Where is she? Ignite? Come on, come on. I just looked and saw your name. Come on. I'm doing pretty good. It's always good to see you.
Likewise. Greetings, Council. How are you guys doing? It is always beautiful to address you guys. I do apologize. I know sometimes I get up here and get a little testy. However, this is definitely a matter that has to be resolved. You guys are putting us off, and that's a problem. We have provided information that shows public corruption. We have provided information that shows the city attorney doing something that was outside of his authorization, right? Something that was not properly done. The proper channels were not taken. The social equity program has been watered down since it has hit this floor. It is unfortunate that the neighborhood council has been taking out of the process of oversight and making sure that we are not forgotten, especially in a situation that had targeted us. We were definitely not forgotten when it came time to go to jail for this. However, we are being left out the multi-millions of dollars that can come back into our neighborhood to bring us back to where we were taken from. Give thanks.
Thank you, Ignite.
Okay, with that, members, let us now turn to Mr. Wesson for a presentation.
Good morning, good morning. Come on, tall people, stand next to me. Mr. President and members, it's an honor to stand before you today. I am pinch hitting for Council Member Price as we recognize our own Grammy Museum that has been in downtown LA in the new 9th District since 2008. Let's give them a round of applause. But today we're going to talk a little bit about the Latin Grammys and 20 years of excellence for the Latin Recording Academy. An academy that is comprised of performers and artists and producers and arrangers, arrangers, whatever their proper title is, that primarily come from Spanish-speaking countries and Portuguese. This is a very, very exciting time. In about 4 days or 2 days from now, there's going to be the largest display of Latino talent. It's going to be televised on Univision, broadcast live from Las Vegas. The show is going to be hosted by Ricky Martin, who's a phenomenal performer himself, and one of my favorites, Rosalind Sanchez from Devious Maids, a great actress in her own right. And on the 18th of this month, the 3rd floor of our Grammy Museum is going to have an exhibit of Latin recording artists that is going to be phenomenal. This exhibit will, I think, continue through 2020, and it's going to be open to the public, first come, first serve. You know, music is the international language, and it's very important that we highlight music from every part of the globe. So in a few days, we will be highlighting some phenomenal entertainers and musicians that have really given this country a just special kick to its soul, the soul of not just this country, but the world. Now, it's my understanding that we do have a video. If we can play the video. I can rock. Members, it is now my pleasure to present to you the Chief Operating Officer of the Grammy Museum, an individual that's responsible for the day-to-day operation there, and it's over, I think, 50 full-time staff people. But more than that, there are facilities in New Jersey that you oversee, and is it Mississippi? Or this is a very, very busy young lady. So let's give a round of applause to Rita George. Welcome her.
Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that introduction and for the time here today. On behalf of our president, Michael Sicca, who is unable to join us, and on behalf of my colleagues here with me, thank you all for this opportunity, especially to you, Council President Wesson, and all of City Council. We've been around for almost 11 years. Next month is our 11th anniversary, and while we have had, thank you, we're very proud to be in the heart of this city and to be part of the community. While we have had displays and exhibits on Latin artists, we really wanted to take this time going into the next decade of our existence to expand that and welcome the community around us. With the museum located in the heart of this diverse city and 48% of the population identifying as Latinx, it was clear that we wanted to expand this gallery, dedicate the right amount of space, the appropriate amount of space, so half of a floor of our 4-floor museum, to the arts and culture of the Latin artists and genres of music. We will proudly play host to LA's first permanent Latin music gallery. We aim to continue growing our educational programs and our public programs. We welcome over 25,000 students a year to our building, and we like to expand that. And as you mentioned, we have an opening. While we're going to Las Vegas, a few of us, to celebrate the Latin Grammys and their incredible 20-year history, we will bring that all back and open to the public on November 18th we have an opening event on November 18th. From 7 to 10 p.m., it's free to the public. We invite everyone to come. Check out the information on our website and our socials. But we will have a ribbon-cutting ceremony during the day with some amazing performances. And again, that night, we look to welcome our constituents and the people of Los Angeles. Again, I wanted to take a quick minute, if I might, to introduce my colleagues here with me. Here we go, excuse me. I have, let me introduce Nick Vega. He has been working tirelessly on this. He's our Director of Curatorial Affairs. Kate Nader is our Director of Community Engagement. And Jasmine I always say your last name. Lywendell, thank you, is our Communications Manager.
And as she mentioned, the head of this project, Michael Sicca, it's my understanding that he's homesicker.
I'm going to tell him about that.
Yeah,
yes,
tell him. Yeah, put-um-bum. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a round of applause. We'd like to present you with this resolution from the city.
Thank you. Everybody.
All right. Let's go in the back.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Cue the salsa music. Oh. Okay, what's before us, Madam Clerk? Let us now take item number 11. Item number 11. We have speakers on item 11. Got it. So public comment has been satisfied on item number 11.
Good morning, honorable council members. I'm Holly Walcott, the city clerk for the city of Los Angeles. As you know, 2020 is an important election year. While every election year is important, I think we all appreciate the importance of 2020 being a presidential election year. But here, locally, what's super important is we're going into a new voting system. 2020 is the first time that we will permanently consolidate with the County of Los Angeles. And will be my pleasure here in a minute to introduce probably the nation's expert on voting solutions. Los Angeles County is the largest voting district, largest number of voters in a district in the country. Of that, the city and LA Unified School District comprise a large portion of that. We have 2.4 million voters, which is 47% of the county's voting population. The city-only voters is 2 million voters, or approximately 39%. My staff has partnered with LA County to do a lot of the outreach for this new voting system. And
Hold on, Ms. Walcott, hold on. Herman, just for the record, Herman ran into this meeting making noise. And Herman, that's your last warning. Can you please note that, Mr. City Attorney? Okay. Go ahead, Holly. Sorry for the disruption.
Not at all. So I think what's important is that you all understand what the new voting system will look like. My staff is going out daily, sometimes 7 days a week, to partner with LA County to get the word out to the public so that they understand what the changes are coming. The new voting centers, the best part about it is you'll be able to vote at any voting center in the county, and they will be open up to 11 days in front of each election. But we need to make sure the word gets out to the public. We've gone to over 150 events this fiscal year. We've reached almost 30,000 people. We've registered about 1,300 people. We've gone to high schools, city colleges, LA Unified, senior centers, faith-based centers, to the recently incarcerated, for New American ceremonies, disabled locations, and the homeless communities. But in order to best serve your communities, each one of you are the experts in your communities. So what I would ask of each of you is that you reach back out to me, or have a member of your staff reach back out to me if there are events in your community, or if there's a way that we can better outreach to your community. We need to know that so that we can best get the word out. And with that, I want to turn this over to, like I said, Dean Logan probably knows more about voting solutions than anybody in the United States, and it's my pleasure to introduce him. Dean Logan, the Register Recorder and County Clerk for the County of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mr. Logan, for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. It's an honor to be here today and to share with you information about the new voting solutions for all people that will launch in LA County in 2020. This is really the culmination of almost a decade-long effort to reinvent the voting experience for Los Angeles County. It's been prompted by a number of things, but it's something that has been a long time in coming, and we're very pleased to be at a point to share this with you today. I do want to start by thanking Holly and her staff. The partnership between our office and the City Clerk's office is an integral part of the success of this major change in the way elections are administered in the county, both in terms of the consolidation of the city's elections onto the even year election cycle, as well as the move to the new voting experience that I'll talk about. And so I again want to thank Holly and her team for all of their assistance. So as Holly has referenced, voting is changing in LA County. There are a number of things that have prompted this. As most of you know, the IncaVote Plus voting system that we have used in LA County is an older system. It was modified after the end of the punch card voting system after the 2000 Bush v. Gore election, and it was always intended to be a temporary solution awaiting a market solution that would meet the needs of Los Angeles County. It was actually through a partnership with the City of LA on an RFP to try and look for that market solution that we came to the conclusion that there was not a solution on the market that was currently available and certified for use in this country that could meet the needs of the city, let alone the County of Los Angeles. So we launched what at that time was referred to as the Voting Systems Assessment Project to try and begin to develop a system that would be responsive to the voters here in our county. That was to address a number of deficiencies with the current system. With the pending consolidation of local elections onto the even year ballot, there was a ballot capacity issue with the IncoVote Plus system. That's one of the reasons that many local jurisdictions had not moved to the even year election cycle before. Just last year, the Secretary of State, after adoption of new voting system standards for the state of California, issued a proclamation to decertify all of the legacy voting systems in California, and that would include ours, which means as of 2020, it's no longer available for use in California. And probably most important, the IncoVote Plus system, while it has served us well and been a workhorse and accurate, it does lack accessibility and usability features that we believe voters expect and should expect in this day and age. So we set about this from a very human-centered design process. We looked at this not just as a system replacement or a technology issue, but we looked at it through the lens of the voter to say, how are we, if we're going to make a public investment in a new voting experience, how can we ensure that that meets the needs of our voters and lives up to the significance of that voting experience? We've been voting in the same way in LA County. If you think about it from the experience of the voter walking into a polling place, it is the same today as it was in 1968 when punch card voting was first rolled out in LA County. And a lot has changed about the way we live our lives since 1968. So as Holly mentioned, we're moving from a one-day, one-location model of voting to an 11-day voting period where voters in LA County can go to any voting location and cast their ballot. We're moving to a voting experience where voters can have access to language access in their voting experience that is beyond a mere translation of the ballot, but actually allows the voter to customize that to a certain extent, to accessibility and customization features that allow all voters to use the same voting equipment and does not require a voter with a disability to have to self-disclose their need for assistance in voting. And embedded in that process is also our ability to now take full advantage of the laws that have passed in California over the last decade, including things like conditional voter registration that will be available at all of our vote centers. I already mentioned local jurisdiction consolidation. The other thing that I think probably is of particular interest to you, layered on top of that change, is a law that changes the ballot order in 2020. So starting in 2020 in LA County alone, we're part of a 2-year pilot project that the legislature passed. Your offices will be the first on the ballot. So while it's a presidential primary, it will start with local offices, it will go to county offices, then it will go to state offices, and it will conclude with the presidential contest. So the actual order of the ballot is different as well. So real quickly, what happens at these vote centers? So we will open vote centers starting 11 days before the election. We'll have approximately 250 of those throughout the county at that point. At 4 days before the election, so that's the weekend before the election, that will increase to 1,000 locations. And again, voters throughout the county can go to any one of those locations and get their local ballot. They can change their address. They can, if you have not registered to vote before, you can actually register to vote and cast your ballot at these vote centers as well. We've been working very closely with Holly and her office and a number of departments here in the city on the siting of those voting locations. They will include places like city parks, city libraries, and city community centers. We think this is probably the most significant change from a voter perspective, is their ability to choose when and where to cast their ballot during that voting period. And it really supports a philosophy of meeting voters where they're at. So voters don't have to seek out the voting experience, that we will be visible in the community during that 11-day voting period. And when voters feel that intrinsic significance of voting, that they'll have the opportunity to do that at a place that matches their desire. Embedded at that vote center will be an electronic poll book. This is the feature that allows voters to vote at any location. It will be a full copy of the entire database of registered voters in LA County. This will enable us to address a lot of issues that in the past have resulted in high rates of provisional ballots, because voters, traditionally we have the most provisional ballots are voters who were issued a vote by mail ballot, but they don't have that ballot to surrender at their polling place, or voters who are going to the wrong polling place. Both of those issues go away under this new model. We can clear the vote-by-mail ballot at the vote center, and we can register voters anew at the vote centers and issue them a ballot as well. This is also the mechanism that, while you can appreciate allowing voters to go to any location, we also have to have security in that. We have to make sure that if a voter goes to a vote center in downtown LA and then attempts to go to a vote center somewhere else in the county later in that voting period, that we have a clear record and a real-time record that they've already cast their ballot to ensure that voters are not voting multiple times. One of the features we'll offer at the under this new experience, and this is optional, this is a service that we think will be very popular with voters, is an interactive sample ballot. This will be a web-based application where, in addition to the paper sample ballot that is mailed to every voter, we will make available an electronic version of that sample ballot that voters can pre-mark using their personal device or their home computers. At the end of that, they can create what we call a poll pass, which is a QR code that when they go into the vote center, they can scan that into the voting device and it'll pre-populate their choices, take them immediately to the review screen, let them review their choices, and cast their ballot on the voting device. That will expedite their voting experience. Again, that's an option for those who wish to use it, but given the length of the ballot that is coming in 2020, we think that'll be a feature that many voters will choose to use. The ballot marking device the voters will use at the vote center is it's an electronic interface that allows voters to mark their ballot, but it still creates a paper, human-readable ballot. This device does not retain the choices of the voters. It does not count their votes. It simply allows them to mark their ballots in a way that's unambiguous, that is an easy user interface for them, and that at the end of that prints a paper ballot that goes into a secure ballot box and comes back to our office for tabulation. Just looking at the picture of this, you can't really fully appreciate all of the services that are available on this. This device will allow a voter to access the ballot in any of the 13 required languages in LA County. It includes an audio headset, so if a voter wants to both visually look at the ballot on the screen but also hear it audibly, and they can do that in different languages if they wish. It allows for a voter who is blind or visually impaired to use the audio equipment and a tactile keypad to mark their ballot, print their ballot, and deposit that into a ballot box without the assistance of another individual. It has features such as the ability to customize the text size and the contrast, so it addresses a number of accessibility and usability issues that have existed in the past. As Holly mentioned, this is a significant amount of change, and while all of this was designed by and for Los Angeles County voters, we have had unprecedented engagement with the public in the design of this system. We are still a large county with 5.4 million registered voters, so the job ahead of us in terms of public outreach and education is huge. If we don't do that well, human nature is that people will wake up on March 3rd and they will think that elections are being conducted the way they have always been conducted before. So we are focusing on some key messages and are in the midst of a very high-profile public education campaign. Things we're emphasizing is that we're not taking away polling places, we're actually gaining vote centers. So for the individual voter, where they've in the past had 1 day and 1 location to go to vote, they now have 11 days and up to 1,000 locations that they can choose from. We're emphasizing accessibility of the equipment, the fact that it is still a paper-based voting system, that human-readable paper ballot is still available for post-election auditing and recounts, the 11-day voting period, and encouraging people to take advantage of that and to vote early. Vote by mail, yes, thank you, Holly. Vote by mail is still an active part of this process. We rolled out the new vote by mail ballot in 2018. That was highly successful, and that will continue to be an integral part of the voting process in LA County. So getting the message out, 4 weeks ago, we had a mock election where we opened 50 of these vote centers throughout the community, invited the community to come in and use the equipment, become familiar with it. That was the launch of our public outreach and education campaign. Since then, every week we have 10 demonstration centers located throughout the county where we have the equipment and teams out there to demonstrate it and to educate people about it. That will continue through January, and it gives people that hands-on experience with the system. We are constantly on a full-time basis at community events. We've been at over 300 events and presentations already this year, providing VSAT materials where we can. We have the ballot marking devices on site because what we've learned is when people get a chance to see it and touch it and feel it, their confidence grows significantly. I will note that I've provided to each of your offices one of these flash drives. On this flash drive is all of our promotional and educational collateral material in all 13 languages, including one-pagers, including video clips that you can use to help spread the word throughout your district. We will be working with our media partners. We'll have a high-profile radio, television, and digital campaign that starts at the first of the year. That will include outdoor media and print media as well. We'll be doing direct mail to voters, informing them of the changes as well. We'll continue to seek out earned media through media roundtables, featured stories in print media, interviews, and events in the community. And with that effort and the partnership with stakeholders throughout the county, we believe that we will be well positioned when the vote centers open on February 22nd for the March 3rd presidential primary. And with that, there's a very short video that probably does a better job than I just did of kind of giving you a picture of what this new experience looks like. So, see if we have the video. Okay. All right. It was a very short video.
Okay. Madam Clerk, we, while you're working on the technical difficulty, we have a few members on the queue. We'll start with Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks, Holly, and thank you, Dean. I want to thank you in particular, Dean, for how responsive you are on Election Day. Not just elected officials, but members of the public are constantly sending you Twitter messages, and you're remarkably responsive. I've got a couple questions. First question is, and this is on behalf of everybody who hits refresh on the lavote.net website on election night. Does this system give us any opportunity to get returns earlier than we currently do?
Yeah, that's a very popular question. Yes and no. So the ballots are still counted centrally. They still have to come back to our headquarters in Norwalk and be counted. I think and we still have the post-election canvass period that is embedded in California law to ensure that voters who vote by mail can return their ballot up to and including on Election Day. So there will still be a considerable number of ballots to be counted after Election Day. What I think that you will see is that you'll see a larger representation of the total vote included in the election night returns. So we will be able to, in addition to counting the vote by mail ballots that we traditionally release results at shortly after 8 o'clock on Election Day, we will then also have the ballots that were cast during the 10 days prior to Election Day at the vote centers that will have already been back and ready to be counted. So I think the proportion of votes cast on election night will be larger, but if there is a close contest, we will still see that continue through the post-election canvass.
But we may still get the election night results as late as we currently do.
The unofficial final, yes, but you will, whereas before sometimes the further geographical areas, sometimes you wouldn't see any results until later in the night. You will see full representative of all precincts earlier in the evening.
Okay. And the ballot order thing you mentioned with the local first in 2020, is that in effect in 2022 and subsequent, or does something actually have to happen to make that the case?
It's a 2-year pilot, so in LA County, so it will be for the 2020 and the 2022 election. The way the legislation reads, at the end of that period, we'll do an analysis, and at least as the current law is written, the county will then make a determination of whether to continue with.
But it is in effect for 2022.
Yeah.
Final question is the most important of the three and the most substantive. Can you talk a little bit about election integrity? I know there's a lot of work that you've done in here. If you could talk a little bit more about specifically the paper ballots, the internet connectivity or lack of it, what's been done to maintain election integrity, and what sort of election integrity watchdog groups have been supportive?
Sure, thank you for that question. Obviously, election integrity and security are big topics and have been regular news items literally every day since the 2018 election. So we have engaged in this design process a technical advisory committee that includes security experts, privacy experts, and usability experts that have guided us on that. The paper ballot is probably the most tangible part of that, because we are not retaining an electronic copy of anyone's votes. Those are on the paper ballot. They can be They can be used in recounts and post-election auditing. The ballot marking devices that were featured earlier in the presentation, each of those are standalone devices. Those are not networked in any way. There is a network that connects the e-poll books. That's what allows us to update the record on a regular basis of who has voted, but that's on a secure network, and it is not connected to the voting devices themselves. So we're fortunate that California has adopted probably the most strict voting security standards in the country, at a higher standard than what the voluntary voting system standards are at the national level. So we are abiding by those. We have an information security department in our department, as well as the county-wide department that's monitoring things at all times. We have partnerships with the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, who are watching things closely as well. I will just note that where I think we have seen weaknesses in that process is not in technology and in the systems, but is more about the misinformation campaigns. And there was evidence of that in the elections that took place nationally last week as well. That's a much harder issue to address. We are trying to get the word out to the public about who should be considered a trusted source of information on elections information, real basic things about the days and times for voting and confirmation of your registration, to not take that for granted, and not to take that information from a third-party source. That if you want to confirm your registration or confirm the logistics of voting in LA County, you should do that through city clerks and through the LA County Department of Registrar Recorder County.
Thank you. I was told now by Alan that the video is queued and ready to go.
The election is just around the corner, and Los Angeles County has a new way for voters to make their voices heard. New Los Angeles County vote centers are located throughout the county. Cast your ballot near your home, work, or favorite park. Voters can go anywhere. To find a vote center that's convenient, visit lavote.net and find one that works best for you. Instead of waiting for one day to vote, you are now able to vote across 11 days. Once you've arrived, a vote center assistant will greet you and check you in before taking you to the ballot marking device. Did you know that there is a new interactive sample ballot that lets you pre-mark your selections online and generate a poll pass? A unique QR code that will let you quickly transfer, review, and cast your selections on a paper ballot at the County Vote Center. The new ballot marking device includes an audio ballot, a touch screen, and a tactile keypad to make voting faster and more accessible. You can also select your language, change the font size, and adjust the contrast for easy viewing. Then, after you make your selections or scan your poll pass, you can review your ballot to verify your choices and cast your ballot by feeding the paper ballot back into the ballot marking device. There's no need to give your ballot to a vote center assistant. You cast it on the same device. Welcome to the future of voting in Los Angeles County. Fast, convenient, and easy. Go to vsap.lavote.net to exercise your right to vote and let your voice be heard.
Thank you. Okay, we have Ms. Rodriguez, next speaker on the queue.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was actually perfect. I had a specific question regarding the QR codes. So are they going to be individually identifiable for those individuals, or because QR codes are something that are widely used to disseminate a kind of preset amount of information? What's the process with these QR codes being programmed specifically to the individual that's setting it up versus someone who widely distributes a preset select kind of set of folks to vote for?
Right. So the QR codes themselves for the poll pass, they don't contain any information about the voter themselves. So the voter, when you use the app, you'll confirm your registration and you'll use your address. That will enable you to ensure that you get the right ballot style. So it will be unique to the ballot style that's associated with your registration, but it does not contain any information about the voter itself. It contains information about the ballot group or the ballot style associated with that voter, and that will then have to match the ballot style that the voter gets on their blank ballot when they show up at the vote center. If it doesn't match to that, then the poll pass will not work and the voter will have to make their selections individually.
But for an entire precinct, someone could have a pre-select and predetermined QR code and submit that, correct? Because it would be based on that ballot style.
Yes, you could create a generic QR code for a particular ballot style.
Okay, and isn't that concerning in terms of potential manipulation for outcomes in those areas?
I think that's not indifferent from the types of things that we see in the existing campaign process. So slate mailers or voters who fill out a paper sample ballot and give it to another voter and ask them to copy it. The voter still controls the final choices on that ballot and makes the choice to cast the ballot. So the poll pass and the sample ballot are not the official ballot. They're just an electronic version of the sample ballot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have concerns about a QR code being distributed to an entire precinct, for example, and it could potentially, I think, have other implications. Because when you talk about, you still have to manually select whether it's a paper form, but with the QR code, it just kind of pre-selects. And this is given, I was actually in Dallas for another election and saw some manipulative tactics with pre-selected voter, I think in Dallas, and this is very different, but in Dallas, because I think we can also question the integrity of their security with their process, but with kind of standardized, pre-selected, I think it was by party, there was, if individuals wanted to uncheck a certain office, for example, it had impacts and implications for the entire slate that they were selecting. So, I have concerns with having pre-coded QR codes that are going to be designated and potentially impact an entire precinct.
I appreciate that. I think the situation that you spoke of in Dallas is different, and I'd be happy to follow up with you on some of the security protocols with the electronic.
Yeah, just because I think it would be real. I see cause for concern in just making sure that people still have the opportunity to individually select, and the QR codes could actually have some very different implications. Sure. So, thank you.
Mr. Blumenfield.
Thanks. I had a similar thought about the QR codes. It's going to empower slates. I mean, it is what it is. Folks are going to be able to have a slate, put it on there and do it. But you could always bring a slate card into your ballot anyway. It just makes that process easier and more likely that groups will have those QR codes. Question about the printing and scanning. So your ballot gets printed out, you look at it, and then you scan it back in to be counted. And it's two different devices electronic devices, one that's sort of printing and creating the ballot and the other that's scanning it.
Correct. So I want to just be clear that when you scan it back in, it's not really scanning it to be counted. That's just depositing it into the secure ballot box. The ballots come back to Norwalk and are tabulated on an entirely independent system where they are scanned for tabulation.
So there's no sort of double checking with the scan when it's going into the ballot box. You do your ballot. It's printed out. You now stick it in to go into the
ballot box.
Into the ballot box. It's scanning it just to register that you voted, and it's not counting who you voted for.
That's correct.
So then it gets mixed into the box.
Correct.
I mean, obviously, you're not going to link the person in the vote. I get that. I just meant whether or not there was some independent tally.
There's
for that
no tally
precinct.
at the vote center. The tallying all happens back at our office.
Right. And then the tallying is done physically by scanning each of those.
Each of those physical ballots is scanned, similar to the way the ballots are scanned, and then results are produced from that.
Right. But it's scanned. It's not scanned like the DOTS system. There's some sort of code that.
It's a QR code that's produced on that printed ballot. So the printed ballot shows a summary of your choices in human readable format, and then there's a QR code that contains that same information. That's what's scanned through the high-speed scanner back at our office to produce the results.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your presentation today. I just have one question. We typically on Election Day, campaigns harass voters until they come out and vote. Now you have an 11-day harassment period. Are you able to provide to campaigns in real time the list of people every day that have already voted so that campaigns won't be harassing people each day when they already voted 5 days ago, 10 days ago?
Yes, that will be available just as we do daily the vote by mail ballots. You will also campaigns that'll be publicly available who has voted at a vote center. So
And how will that be made available?
it'll be available through a web-based application where you can get the voter ID numbers and cross-check that against your list. Or if you prefer a less technical approach, it would simply be a list of voters organized by precinct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Madam Clerk, you want to close this out? We good?
The only other question I would ask, and I beg the council's indulgence, is can you give us an idea of how many of the voting centers will be in the city of Los Angeles?
I can. So right now we expect, we are still securing the voting centers at this point, but we expect to have about 63 vote centers that open during the 10-day period, and then that would increase to about 250 locations in the city for the final 4 days.
Thank you. I'd like to share just a quickly personal story. My son came home from Youth in Government through the YMCA after 3 days in Fresno, and he comes home last night and says, "Dad, I can pre-register to vote. I'm 16 years old," and he came home with his LA County application, and he was excited to do that. So I want to acknowledge and appreciate your service to our county and appreciate your presentation. And there's no action on this item, so with that, we'll move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, members, let us turn to item number 5. It's been held on the desk for a technical amendment.
Item 5 was called special by Councilmember Krikorian.
Mr. Harris Dawson.
Yes, we have a technical verbal amendment that the second action of agenda item number 5 read, adopt the findings submitted by the Director of Planning on September 30, 2019, attached to the file.
Very good. With that, no other speakers on the queue. Let us open. Okay, I'll second that amendment. Let us open the roll. Mr. City Attorney.
Be quiet, Mr. Previn.
Okay, keep in mind public comment was fulfilled on this item. So let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, that's approved as amended. Okay, with that, let's now turn to general public comment. Speakers will have 1 minute to speak on a non-agenda item. Irvin Piega, please come forward. Mr. Piega here. Ian McMillan. Christian Chavez. Is that you, Mr. Chavez? Please come forward. He'll be followed by Lakeisha Carter. Is Lakeisha Carter here? Please come forward. We'll start with Mr. Chavez for 1 minute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Christian. I'm a social equity advocate, and I just wanted to touch on a few things that I'm sure already have been echoed. One of the main things that I wanted to touch on was the fact that the DCR changed major of the policies and procedures without hearing public comment, and also requested that the city council remove community input from neighborhood council, and 2, disempower the Cannabis Commission as a voice of the people. Overall, as part of a continued pattern, this is disregarding the spirit of the social equity program, allowing corruption and back-channel decision-making that has actually taken place by some of the city staff members. We just want to request that there is a fair review of these agreements, and a lot of what's happened is individuals are being left with the bills as holding
you.
properties.
Next speaker. Your name, please.
Good morning, Council. My name is Ian. I'm a Tier 1 social equity applicant. And I'm a constituent and operator in District 8. And I'm asking the City Council to request DCR to vet all 800 applications for Phase 3 licensure and eliminate all applicants who fail to meet the minimum regulation requirements of licensing. Those who have frauded the pre-vetting process, have fake property leases or subleasing, and cheating the Excellus system by eliminating and banning them from the process. This in accordance with the Council President Wesson's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Is it Lakeisha?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Council. My name is Lakeisha Robinson. I am a paying citizen of the state of Los Angeles, and I am requesting that the social equity process, the DCR reprocess all applications, not just the 800. All of them need to be vetted through. My husband is a Tier 1 applicant that was approved. He is not one of the 800 applicants on the list, but he did receive a letter from the DCR stating that he was approved, and now we're in the process of not being able to proceed. The DCR has violated the spirit of the law written on social equity. To remedy this wrong, we are asking that the mayor and the city council to require DCR to vet all applications for Phase 3 and eliminate all applicants who fail to meet the minimum regulatory requirements. If there are over 3,000 illegal marijuana stores in Los Angeles, there can very well be 3,000 legal stores in Los Angeles if you guys allow it. Thank you.
Thank you. Will the following speakers please come forward? Madison Shockley, Demetrius Carter. Demetrius Carter here? No? How about Kika Keith? Kika Keith. Lynn Moses. Go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Madison Shockley. I grew up in the 10th District, in the Herbst District. Now I live in the 6th District, Nuri's District. I'm a social equity applicant that applied on September 3rd, and the problem is the vetting. Applicants didn't get properly vetted, so many people in the top 100 wouldn't actually qualify, but right now they're holding places of people who deserve to qualify. And so what needs to happen is everybody should get processed and vetted and make sure they actually qualify, and let everybody in, because many people have been doing this for over 2 years. I know I've spent over $80,000 pursuing this. I stopped doing my previous business to do this, and I know many people have spent much more than that. And now, because they're not in the 100, they're going to lose everything and have to start over again for a round 2 that hasn't even been announced yet. It's not the most efficient way to create equity in the city. A better way to do it is process everybody right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Kika? Kika, is there a Demetrius Carter or not? Demetrius?
I'm Kika.
Yes, ma'am. Hold on. Okay. Demetrius Carter? No. Lynn Moses? No. How about a George Bussetti? Okay, Miss Carter, go ahead. I see you. Come on up. Go ahead, Kika.
Okay. Good morning, Council. I have come before you for the past 2 years. I believe I was one of the stories in which Phase 3, Round 1 was enacted to help those of us who have been paying. My property specifically is in Harris Dawson's district, District 8. I'm a resident of that district. I've been paying $12,000 a month in a vacant building. Councilman Bonin, you asked about election integrity and security. Councilwoman Rodriguez, you also asked about integrity and manipulation of the election process. Yet I have not heard anybody ask us about this video evidence. There are 13 videos that came last week that showed that the process was violated, that there was a breach internally. Video evidence. You don't need to do an audit. Look at the videos, look at the list, look that there are people who have $1 million homes on that list of 100 that have already been invoiced. I ask you to take the council president's recommendation. Either you delay it and refund those invoices or process all of them. You have to make a remedy for the actions that have been caused by the city. Thank you.
George Mazzetti, former Director of Policy of Congress of Racial Equality of California. 50 years of civil rights and smoking the best shit that there is, okay? And I know screwball fraud when I see it, and I've been following this game around here for a long time. It's the fastest growing business in the world, which means you want and your friends their hands in the pockets of the money to control this game. It's already been warped enough by all your corporate garbage from what it used to be. Now you want to drive out, you've driven out the growers, a lot of the originals, OGs, and you want to drive out the people that actually know the business and care about the people. To pork your friends with money. Let's face it, this is Nazi fascist America. There is no law here. You operate criminally, allowing your police department to erase police commission meetings. I notify you 4 days after.
Thank
You're
you.
a lawless organization.
Corey Schmidt, followed by Wayne, and the last speaker, Herman.
Okay, Corey Schmidt for the record. Just want to say that if you haven't been able to tell by my appearance, I still haven't showered since Tuesday. You know, I've pretty much had my gym membership removed. I'm having a guy who's in power right now, who I keep talking about, is trying to remove me from the city. He's found that the key to my survival is the gym, and now I look like this. So liens, let's talk about liens. Let's start giving liens to these giant buildings that this guy is pushing. And, you know, these sign districts that we're thinking about doing, you know, these billboards are the preposition for these giant buildings. You put the sign up first so that everybody gets used to it, and then you build the giant property. So, you know, we're thinking about doing it on Westwood, and we're looking for additional neighborhood services, but I think that we need some more neighborhood services in my neighborhood to, you know, more police to boot this guy. So do something, man. This is bullshit.
Wayne, come on up.
Good morning to the Weezer Criminal Conspiracy Department of Los Angeles. Here's our list of messages for some of your foes. Van Fan Rodriguez, Vanessa Rodriguez, been ratting out the abusers. Now, this is what happens when you trust people at work here. It's all Eduardo's fault. He's been telling them to come forward. They all going to get paid under civil rights lawsuit. See, every single staffer here is going to sue the city for a large pension. It was all Eduardo's idea. It was all his fault. Did Herb Wesson get that lease for Herb the Third? No, that was Mr. Cedillo and Mr. fucking Eduardo putting that together. Herb's the innocent foe. Herb Wesson, you just a goddamn little chain-smoking motherfucker. That's right.
Okay, Herman, come on up. Wayne, your time is up, and stop disrupting this meeting. Go ahead, Herman.
Friday, 2 minutes into 5 seconds, public comment. I see you didn't drop the N-word like you usually do. Consequence? For her to say, surprises the N-word. You're the instigator. You should grow up. You should grow up, Nuri. You should grow up, Rue. You intentionally incite and instigated an issue between blacks and brown. But we're one. We want jobs. We want to live in our community. And we want to see this fucking corruption come down. We're taking back our fucking street. Hess versus Indiana. Brandenburg versus Ohio. So fuck the city attorney and fuck your bullshit permit, asshole.
Okay, with that, that concludes our general public comment, members. What's before us, Madam Clerk?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They're posted and referred. Any announcements, members? Okay, seeing none. Can we all rise for adjourning motions, please? All rise for adjourning motions. Okay. Mr. Blumenfield has an adjourning motion.
Thank you. Colleagues, today I'd ask that we adjourn in the memory of LA Fire Department Fire Captain Jim Como. He passed away on November 3rd. Captain Como served this city as a member of the fire department for nearly 30 years, and most recently he had been assigned to Fire Station 84 in my district, Woodland Hills specifically. He was part of a family of public servants. His father was a member of LAPD. He also has a brother-in-law, Joe Sabatos, who was a fire captain of Fire Station 18. And Captain Como, he was born in October of 1960. He was appointed to the LAFD in September of 1990. And throughout his service, he has worked for many different fire stations, including Fire Station 89 in North Hollywood, where he worked at the drill tower and helped train over 300 new recruits. He was also assigned to Fire Station 90 at the Van Nuys Airport, where he supported LAFD air operations. Through his service, he trained to become a Helitech certified, which made him part of the helicopter crew. And he was certified to assist in all the helicopter missions that the LAFD responded to, including brush fires and helicopter hoist rescue operations. He worked at this assignment for 12 years before becoming appointed as a fire captain. He did so much for so many in this city. He also loved the outdoors, was an avid skier and a surfer. He loved riding dirt bikes and camping with his family. And actually, early in his career, he owned a ski shop that was right here in the valley, or right up there in the valley. He was also a talented musician and singer. Some of you may have seen him, because up to a couple of years ago, he played the drums and sang in a cover band called Full House that regularly performed at the Sagebrush Cantina, which is right on the border of Calabasas and Woodland Hills. Although he's passed, he will not be forgotten. Captain Jim Como is survived by his parents, his sisters, 2 sons, his brother-in-law, and the entire city family. And we thank him for his decades of service to so many and to this city. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. Mr. Koretz?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, it is with a heavy heart that I ask we adjourn today's City Council meeting in memory of Bernard J. Tyson, Chairman and CEO of Kaiser Foundation Health Plan and Hospitals, who unexpectedly passed away this Sunday in his sleep. He was 60. Mr. Tyson was a visionary and champion for high-quality, affordable health care for all Americans and was a tireless advocate for Kaiser Permanente. He was a devoted husband, father, and friend to so many, and he believed passionately in total health, mind, body, and spirit. Mr. Tyson worked for Kaiser Permanente for more than 3 decades, beginning in the medical records department. He later became a hospital administrator and held a series of executive posts with the company until being named chief executive in 2013 and chairman the year after that. Under his leadership, Kaiser Permanente's membership rose to 12.3 million, up from 9.1 million, across 8 states and the District of Columbia, as its reputation for high-quality health care grew as well. He was committed to improving the health care not only of Kaiser members, but also of the communities in which Kaiser operates. He had the organization examine broad issues like housing shortages, food insecurity, and gun violence, and their impact on health and well-being. As Kaiser's first African-American chief executive, Mr. Tyson used his position to call attention to racial issues, writing many op-eds and articles. Flags will be at half-staff at Kaiser Permanente facilities throughout the country. And upon hearing about his passing, Governor Newsom issued a statement of mourning describing Tyson as a dear friend, saying Bernard's vision and influence made an impact at home and abroad, and he led with excellence on behalf of millions of Kaiser patients and thousands of employees. We will always remember how he made healthcare accessible for so many while paving the way for countless professionals of color to pursue leadership roles in healthcare and corporate America. And our mayor also issued a statement saying, "We are saddened by the sudden loss of Bernard Tyson. He worked tirelessly to increase healthcare access and was an incredible leader and extraordinary force for good over the decades." Bernard is survived by his wife, Denise Bradley Tyson, and 3 sons, Bernard Jr., Alexander, and Charles. The Los Angeles City Council joins Governor Newsom and Mayor Garcetti in offering our deepest condolences to his family and to the Kaiser Permanente family as well. He will be sorely missed.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. Any others? With that, we are now adjourned. Let's go forth and serve the people of Los Angeles. Thank you.